So defective contracts, first we have rescissible contract. Okay, ang cost ng rescission ay dahil meron tayong lesion or economic prejudice. And this is to bring back the previous conditions to their previous conditions at the time of celebration of the contract. There are two kinds of rescissible contract class. Okay, we have rescissible contract based on Article 1191 and rescissible contract on Article 1381. So itong lesion na ito na pinag-usapan natin, or economic prejudice, okay, is with respect to 1381. So ito po yun. Okay? So it is a subsidiary action. Ibig sabihin, class, kapag hindi na po ma-enforce yung mga primary actions, okay, or principal actions, ito po yung last resort natin. Subsidiary lang po itong rescission na ito. For lesion enumerated under the said article, this may be resorted if the party suffering the damage has no other legal means to obtain reparation. Okay, so kung hindi na siya makakapag-specific performance, hindi na siya makakapag-ask for specific performance or payment, same with damages, ibalik mo na lang. Ayan. It applies to all kinds of obligation arising from contract, whether or not it is reciprocal. Pero yung Article 1191, okay, kailangan reciprocal. So it may be availed by the injured party or the third person, as in the case of Action Pauliana. This Action Pauliana class is a rescissory action. Okay, yan po ay rescission because of fraud in creditors. So dahil yung creditors natin ay kumbaga dinedefraud ng kanyang debtor and third party, so pwede po na yung Action Pauliana ang maging remedy niya para mabawi niya yung property. And later we'll go into discuss Action Pauliana. The prescriptive period for action to claim rescission is 4 years. Okay, madaling tandaan, nabanggit natin before. Ito po yung 3. So you have here plus 1, 4. The contract here is classified as defective. Okay, so this is the classification under 1381. Now sa 1191 naman, class, okay, it is a principal remedy. Hindi po ito subsidiary. Okay, so ibig sabihin, pwedeng ito na agad ang iyong remedy or action. No? You don't need to seek other remedies. Okay? So now, this is based on breach of contract. Kanina, dun sa 1381, the basis is lesion or economic prejudice. Dito naman, dahil hindi mo nasunod ang usapan, then, okay, ibalik mo na lang sa akin yung dineliver ko sa'yo. It is applicable only and exclusively to reciprocal obligation. And one of the reciprocal obligations class ay yung contract of sale. Okay? Or those which arise from the same cause. It may only be availed by the party to a contract. Hence, third person cannot avail this remedy. So, principal na nga yung remedy. Tapos, specified pa na dapat reciprocal obligation. And yung third person, hindi po pwede. No? Yung mga parties lang ang pwede makapag-avail nito. The prescriptive period, okay, ito po yung number 9. Prescriptive period ay next number 10. 10 years kapag written, 6 years naman kapag verbal or oral. Okay, both from accrual of the right of action. The contract here is perfectly valid and is not defective. Unlike in 1381, there is defect in the contract, kaya rescissible siya. Okay? Rescissible contract is a defective contract. Okay? And the remedy is to rescind. Why? Because there is lesion under Article 1381. Pero sa 1191 class, the contract entered into between the parties ay perfectly valid. Hindi po defective. Kaso nga lang, hindi po nag-comply yung isang party doon sa obligation niya sa kontrata. Kaya may breach of contract. So the remedy is to rescind. So magkaiba po itong 1191 class ha. Yung 1191, perfectly valid po ang kontrata niyan. So the following are rescissible contract under 1381, item 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And 1384 and 1203. So ito po yung na-discuss natin with regard to guardian property of a ward. Okay, when the ward suffers a lesion by more than 1/4 of the property or value of the thing, which are the object of a contract. Okay, so we have here guardian. Binenta ni guardian yung worth 1 million na lupa ni ward. Okay, para naman kay ward. Kaso nga lang nalugi si ward ng more than 1/4. Contract agreed upon in representation of an absentees where the latter suffers a lesion by more than 1/4. Okay, more than 1/4. So you have here an absentee represented by, of course, yung kanyang agent. Contracts undertaken in fraud of creditors. Okay, so this is to defraud the creditors. Kaya ito po ay action Pauliana ang kanyang remedy. Okay? When the latter cannot in any manner collect the claims due them. Ibig sabihin si creditor, may sinisingil kay debtor, pero itong si debtor, okay, binenta niya allegedly yung property kay third person. Okay? So, itong si creditor naman, papatunayan niya na ginawa yun ng debtor to defraud him or her. Okay? Para hindi na siya makapag-collect ng amount due doon sa utang niya. Ngayon, contracts relating to things under litigation. Okay, kapag ka ito ay nasa korte class, no, pinag-aawayan, meaning may nagke-claim na isang party, meron namang nagke-claim na isang party, other party. So, ngayon hindi pwedeng ibenta, no? Pero pag binenta pa rin, if they have been entered into by the defendant without the knowledge and approval of the litigants or the competent judicial authority, rescissible po yung kontrata. Okay? And without authority or knowledge. Then 1384, we have here in case of insolvency. Okay? Payment made in state of insolvency for obligation whose fulfillment the debtor could not be compelled at the time they were effected. Okay? So you have here insolvency, state of insolvency. And last, rescission of contract with damage if through the Creditors Act, the debtor cannot make a choice in an alternative obligation. So, si debtor, kailangan niyang mamili kung anong prestation ang kailangan niyang i-deliver, pero hindi na siya makapagpili kasi nawala na due to the fault of the creditor. So, the remedy is rescission. So, to compare, we have here Article 1191. Okay, in reciprocal obligation, the right to rescind is implied. Okay, there can be no rescission of obligation that is non-existent. Kaya nga dapat perfectly valid yung kontrata. Considering that the suspensive condition has not yet happened, thus rescission under Article 1191 is not applicable in contract to sell. It is applicable in contract of sale, hindi po contract to sell. Okay? In 1381, requisites for rescission, the action for rescission must originate from any of the causes specified in Article 1381 and 1382. The party suffering the damage has no other legal means to obtain reparation. Kaya nga subsidiary yung remedy nito. Okay? The person demanding rescission must be able to return, kaya niyang ibalik kung ano man yung obliged niyang i-restore. The thing which are the object of the contract must not be legally in the possession of third person who is in good faith. Ayan, class ha. This is in relation to action Pauliana, no? Kung yung property gusto niyang bawiin, i-rescind yung kontrata entered into between the debtor and the third person. Patunayan niya na yung third person ay in bad faith. Ibig sabihin, nakipag-collude siya doon sa debtor. Kaya nagkaroon ng commission of fraud. Pero kapag yan ay walang knowledge yung third person, no, regarding sa existing debt ni debtor, okay? At hindi naman niya alam na itong property na ito, say for example lang ay naka-attach or iprinamis na yun ang pambabayad, okay? Kay creditor yung value nun, okay? Then in good faith itong tinatawag nating third person. So pag ganyan, class, okay? Hindi po pwedeng i-apply ang action Pauliana. Later, i-discuss natin yung ating requisite for action Pauliana. The action for rescission must be filed within 4 years from the accrual of the right of action. So, the prescriptive period ay 4 years. Action Pauliana. Okay? This is the rescissory action to set aside contracts in front of creditor. Example, yung nabanggit natin kanina, si Juan de la Cruz, debtor, si Pedro, creditor. Okay, si Juan de la Cruz, binenta niya yung property niya, yung lupa niya kay Carlo, a third person. Ngayon, kung ang purpose ni Juan de la Cruz is to defraud Pedro para hindi niya mabayaran yung buong utang niya, binenta niya kay Carlo at nag-connive naman ito si Carlo. Teka lang, pwede po bang i-rescind at i-restore yung kontrata na yan, i-rescind at ibalik doon sa dating may-ari who is Juan para maging subject sa claim ni creditor. Then we have here action Pauliana. Ito ang kailangang requisite na present so that you can ask for rescission in front of creditor. Okay? It is a subsidiary remedy and has a prescriptive period of 4 years. Requisites: the plaintiff asking for rescission has a credit prior to the alienation. So may utang po siya. Yung may-ari, no? The debtor has made subsequent contract, okay, conveying patrimonial benefits to a third person. Okay? So itong plaintiff, si creditor ito. May pautang siya kay debtor. Yan ha. May credit siya. But debtor subsequently, okay, conveyed patrimonial benefit to a third person. The creditor has no other legal remedy. Ito ha. So, kumbaga, kung pwede naman siyang maningil class kay debtor at hindi niya kailangang ipa-rescind yung kontrata, okay, hindi pwedeng i-claim yung action Pauliana dyan. Kasi may other remedy naman siya, which is to ask for specific performance kung kayang bayaran pa ni debtor. The act being impugned is fraudulent. So, dapat patunayan niyang may fraud talaga that the third person who received the property conveyed, if it is by onerous title, meaning gumawa sila ng deed of absolute sale, has been accomplice in fraud. So, tumulong po yung third person para sa commission ng fraud. O sige, gawin na lang natin na binenta mo sa akin ng ng magkano ba yung lupa mo? 1 million o 300,000 na lang. Ha? Sige, papayag ako, 300,000 lagay natin sa deed of absolute sale. Pero ang ibayad mo sa akin, 500,000. Ay, ang bayaran ko pala sa iyo, 500,000. Sabi ni Carlo. No? Para bigyan mo naman ako ng discount na 500,000. Okay? Eh, teka lang. Okay lang ba sa'yo? 300 lang ang nakalagay sa deed of absolute sale? O, eto nang si Carlo as the third party, naging accomplice na siya doon sa pag-commit ng fraud. What is the purpose of Juan de la Cruz kung bakit gusto niyang ipakita na 300,000 lang? Eh, yun pa lang, utang niya kay Pedro is 500,000. Diba? Kaya naman niya talagang bayaran yon. Kaso nga lang, papakita niya na 300 lang ang nakolekta niya, ang kumbaga napagbentahan niya ng lupa niya na worth 1 million. So ikaw naman na creditor, si Pedro, di gawin mo, ipatunayan mo may fraud, and action Pauliana, ipa-rescind mo yung kontrata. O ibalik mo yung lupa ni Carlo, ibalik mo yung lupa ni Juan de la Cruz. Kasi itong lupa na ito, okay, naka-attach doon sa aking claims, o kaya naman pwede akong kumbaga mag-ask for foreclosure nito at mabebenta ito ng mas mahal kaysa dyan sa 300,000 nang mabayaran ng aking pinautang na 500,000. The conveyance may not be absolutely simulated or must not be absolutely simulated. Okay? Kasi pag absolutely simulated class, yung pagbenta, di ba sabi natin doon sa different kinds of contract, pag absolutely simulated, it is void. Di ba? Ibig sabihin, wala talagang napag-agrihan or wala talagang na-transfer na consideration. Okay? So, absolutely gawa-gawa lang, simulated lang. Pero pag relatively simulated, pwede. Di ba? Kumbaga, pinakita lang nila na sale, pero donation naman pala, okay, that's relatively simulated. Okay? So take note na hindi dapat absolutely simulated yung conveyance because it will result to a void contract. Okay? Now, voidable contract, a contract is voidable when all the essential requisites for the perfection of the contract are present. So kung lahat pala ng essential requisites such as COC, consent, object, and consideration are present, class, but the element of consent is defective, okay? Valid yung kontrata. Okay? Valid ang kontrata because perfected siya, may consent, may object, may consideration. Kaso nga lang, dahil defective ang consent, it is valid until annulled. Okay? Hanggat hindi siya fina-file ng annulment at hindi na-decree or na-declare na void yung kontrata, valid pa rin siya. Okay? So yung consent ay defective either due to lack of capacity, yan ang na-discuss natin yung mga idiot, IDIUT, insane, deaf-mute, okay, incapacitated person, unemancipated minors, and those suffering from civil interdiction. Okay? With respect to one of the parties, isa lang dapat. Kasi pag dalawa sila class na lack of capacity, magiging unenforceable contract yung kontrata. Okay? Or due to vitiation of consent. And we have discussed the vitiation of consents or consent. We have the so-called violence, intimidation, deceit or fraud or dolo, error or mistake, and undue influence. Okay? Ito po yun. No? Ang acronym natin dito is VIDU. Okay? VIDU. Ayan. Ngayon, ano ba ang characteristic ng voidable contract? Okay? A voidable contract is valid, okay, binding, and produces all its civil effects until set aside by the final judgment of a competent court. Okay, ibig sabihin, valid until annulled. It suffers a defect in form of vitiation of consent, okay, may be rendered perfectly valid by ratification. So, ibig sabihin, class, kahit na subject siya sa annulment, kapag bago siya kasuhan or bago siya ipa-annul, okay, pwede naman siyang i-ratify. So, a voidable contract may be subjected to ratification. Okay, i-clear at ayusin yung defect, or pwede po na siya ay filean ng annulment. No? Now, it is susceptible of convalidation by prescription. It can be assailed only in direct proceeding for the purpose and not collaterally. So, ibig sabihin, class, pwede rin pong mag-prescribe. Di ba? Anong ibig sabihin ng mag-prescribe? Yung action mo for annulment ay may prescriptive period. Okay? Pag hindi ka nag-file for annulment ng kontrata na ito, it will be considered as perfectly valid after its prescription. So, grounds for annulment, one of the parties is incapable of giving consent. Isa lang ha, kasi pag dalawa sila, unenforceable. Vitiation of consent by mistake, okay? Violence, intimidation, undue influence, or fraud. Or simply, yung VIDU na acronym natin. So, for mistake, as one of the grounds, general rule, mistake must be with respect to mistake of facts and not mistake of law. Okay, nagkamali po sa facts. Okay, say for example, ang binibili ko ay white sugar, di ba? Tapos, nag-consent ako doon sa white sugar. Di ba? Pero ang mali, asin pala yung dinideliver or i-deliver niya or binebenta niya. So I thought, okay, na ito ay sugar, okay, kaya bumili ako. So it is a mistake in which one of the defect ay yung consent na naibigay ko. Okay? Not a mistake of law. It's a mistake of fact. Because ignorance of the law excuses no one from compliance therewith. Okay? The exception, if there is mutual error. So pag dalawa po nagkamali, no? As to the legal effect of an agreement, when the real purpose of the party is frustrated, may vitiate consent. Ayan. So, ang binibili, si for example ni Juan ay asukal na white. Ang binibenta naman ni Pedro, asin, white din po. So, hindi po sila magkatugma ng consent. So, there is vitiation of consent by mistake. Pero kunyari, class, ang binibenta ni Pedro ay asin, okay? At ang binibili naman ni Juan ay asin din. So there is already consent as to the sale of salt, di ba? Unfortunately, ang nasa kontrata nila nung magkakapirmahan na white sugar. So pag ganyan, hindi po vitiation of consent ang present pag ganyan. It is mere mistake which can be cured by reformation. Kasi parehas naman sila ng napag-agrihan. Sabi ni Juan, oo, white sugar, asin ang binibili ko sa'yo. Sabi naman ni Pedro, oo nga, asin din yung binibenta ko. Ba't yung nasa kontrata natin? White sugar. Mali ito, i-reform lang natin. Okay? So what is written in the instrument? White sugar. You have to correct it. But you don't need to file for annulment kasi hindi naman po nagkaroon ng vitiation of consent. Now, dolo or fraud must be the determining cause of the contract or must have caused the consent to be given. Say for example, yung case ng nagpanggap na dean ng College of Law, okay, that is dolo causante, 'di ba? Kung hindi po sana siya nagpanggap na dean ng College of Law, baka hindi siya bebentahan nung tinatawag nating bookstore, 'di ba? Diyan sa may area ng Recto. Okay? So, ibig sabihin class, the determining cause of the contract kung bakit siya nag-consent ay dahil naloko siya. So, pag ganyan, it is a causal fraud. At kung causal fraud class, it will render the contract voidable. Kaya ang remedy mo dito, as we have discussed before, ay annulment and also ask for damages. Pwede kang mag-ask ng danyos. Pero pag incidental fraud or dolo incidente, your remedy is merely to ask for damages. Why? Kasi wala naman pong fraud, okay, which caused, okay, the giving of consent, di ba? Yung pagbigay ng consent na isang party. Kasi pag ganun, causal yan. See, for example, yung pag-deliver ng bigas, no, yung Japanese rice, if you can still recall, na nagde-deliver naman talaga si Juan de la Cruz, importer talaga siya ng Japanese rice, no? Na binilhan naman nitong si Pedro. Now, ang binili ni Pedro ay 50 bags of Japanese rice, pero ang dineliver ni Juan ay 25 bags na Japanese at 25 bags na jasmine rice. So, the fraud happened not during the time of perfection of the contract. Ibig sabihin, hindi po nung time na magko-consent sila sa object or sa consideration, but during the execution. So, it is incidental. The fraud is incidental. Kaya damage lang po. Okay? So, wala pong defect sa consent yan. Kaya you don't need to ask for annulment. Requisite of annulment based on fraud, it must have been employed by one contracting parties upon the other. Okay? It must have induced the other party to enter into a contract. Okay? So yung second kasi class na kind ng fraud, no, yung incidental fraud, hindi mo naman in-induce or ininganyo at niloko yung isang party para makipagkontrata sa'yo. Legitimate naman talaga yung in-offer mo. Diba? It must have been serious. Yung fraud ay dapat serious at hindi simple. So pag sinabi nating serious yung fraud, okay, it cost a prudent man. Diba? Prudent man. Ibig sabihin, maingat na tao to commit, okay, an error and to believe na tama yan. Okay? But in fact, mali talaga. Kaya yung fraud ay serious. Okay? Kasi pag hindi serious, kapag prudent at maingat yung tao, ay hindi mo ako maluloko. Ano lang yan, hindi yan totoo. Ganon. Okay? So kumbaga, madali lang ma-detect kung simple lang yung panluloko. Yan. It must have resulted in damage and injury to the party seeking annulment. So dapat may loss, no? May damage. Okay? Para mag-ask siya ng danyos or yung kumbaga annulment. Okay. The following does not constitute fraud. Silence or concealment does not constitute fraud by itself unless there is special duty to disclose facts. So kung ikaw ay required na mag-disclose ng facts regarding dun sa object na binebenta mo pero hindi mo sinabi, okay? Kunyari kung may flaw or defect, hindi mo binanggit, then that is tantamount to concealment, which constitutes fraud. Pero pag hindi naman, hindi po yun fraud. Silence or concealment does not constitute fraud by itself unless according to good faith and usage of commerce, the communication should be made. Usual exaggeration in trade, ito yung usual na tinatanong din class, no, at sinasama dyan sa mga cases, when the other party had the opportunity to know the facts. Okay, usual exaggeration in trade, yung mga billboard, di ba? Syempre, i-build up nila yung produkto nila. Okay, exaggeration. Okay, pero it does not constitute fraud. Mere expression of an opinion sa tingin ko, sa palagay ko, okay naman ito yung durability niya. Okay? Example, 'di ba, kapag nagbabasa kayo ng reviews, 'di ba? Reviews sa Lazada or Shopee, that is an expression of opinion kung ano yung sa tingin natin ay kung gaano kaganda yung isang produkto. It does not signify fraud. Okay? Kasi nasa iyo kung maniniwala ka o hindi. Unless it was made or it is made by an expert. Okay? And the other party has relied on the former's special knowledge. Say for example, sa mga experts sa computer, di ba? Yung mga IT expert, tapos binibentahan ka. Okay? Siyempre, maniniwala ka naman sa kanya kasi ang product naman niya is computer, okay? Mga gadget. Okay? Say for example, yung mga mechanical engineers, no? Mga machine. Yan. Or kunyari, veterinary, nagbebenta ng mga pets or animals. Yan. Violence. When one is compelled to give his consent by reasonable and well-grounded fear of imminent and grave peril upon his person or property, or upon person or property of his spouse, descendant, or ascendant. Na-discuss na natin to, class, no? Pinagsama na lang natin, class, yung violence or intimidation. Okay? Sa video. Kasi pag violence talaga, class, there must be physical harm, no? Sinaktan ka, tinorture ka. Yung intimidation, ano lang, kumbaga, mentally, no? Mentally, tinorture ka naman, tinakot ka. Okay? That the intimidation must be the determining cause. Kaya pumayag at nag-agree na makipag-kontrata because takot na takot ka para sa sarili mo at para sa pamilya mo or property mo. Di ba? The threatened act must be unjust or unlawful. Okay? Ibig sabihin, class, hindi pwedeng threat kapag legitimate. Di ba? Pag sinabing, kung ayaw mo magbayad, kakasuhan kita, mag-file ako ng case. Okay? At panluloko yung ginagawa mo. So kung legitimate, ano naman niya yun, remedy niya as an injured party, hindi po yan, kumbaga, the vitiation of consent through intimidation. Kasi nga, lawful naman yung action niya. The threat must be real and serious, that it produces reasonable and well-grounded fear from the act, that the person from whom it comes has necessary means. Ibig sabihin, kaya niya na i-employ at may ability siya to inflict the threatened injury. Okay? Hindi kumbaga suntok sa buwan lang yung pananakot niya. Di ba? Na pwede mong tawanan kasi hindi naman niya kayang gawin. Okay? Say for example, class, kunyari lang, physically impaired yung tao, hindi makatayo, di ba? Tapos tinakot ka niya. Hindi mo pipirmahan yan. Hindi makatayo, di ba? Bedridden, kunyari. Hindi mo pipirmahan yan, sisipain kita. Okay? Kumbaga, expression lang niya yon, no? Hindi naman pwedeng intimidated ka doon kasi wala naman. Hindi siya, hindi siya able, no? To inflict the said threatened injury. Okay? So, ayan, tignan natin yung mga ganyang mga requirements. Undue influence. There exists an undue influence when a person takes improper advantage. So, ito lagi kong binabanggit, class, na ang magbibigay ng influensya ay yung superior, di ba? Yung boss natin, manager natin. Yung nasa subordinate, yung mga subordinate, sila yung na-influensya, not the other way around. Di ba? Of his power over the will of another, depriving the latter of a reasonable freedom of choice. Okay? So, kunyari, magulang at anak. Yan. O kaya naman yung boss at empleyado. The person can be influenced. So, yan yung isa sa mga titignan mong requirements. The fact that improper influence was exerted, submission to overwhelming effect of such unlawful conduct. Okay, so aside from this, we have unenforceable contract. No? Pag unenforceable contract, class, ito po ay kontrata that you cannot enforce in court. Meaning, okay, hanggat hindi pa siya na-execute, hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa korte para magpa-assist at magpatulong to compel the other party to execute the contract. Okay, kaya nga unenforceable contract siya. It cannot be sued upon or enforced by a proper court action. Ayan na, cannot. Okay, this is in accordance with Article 1403 unless they are ratified. Bakit po ganun? Kasi, okay, ang unenforceable contract class, okay, ay kontrata na entered into by a person who is not authorized to represent the other party. Okay? Or yung mga required na nakasulat as to its formalities hindi na comply with regard to statutes of fraud. Or dahil dalawang parties ay hindi makapagbigay ng consent nila. So you cannot enforce it in court. So take note, class, that there are three kinds of unenforceable contract, and our acronym again is NSB. Okay? Those entered into in the name of another by one who has given no authority. So there is no authority or legal representation. Or kung meron man, he acted beyond his powers. So pag sinabi ni principal, yung may-ari ng building, si Juan kunyari yun, no? Sabi niya, oy Pedro, gawa tayo ng special power of attorney. Ang ilalagay natin dito, okay, ikaw ay ino-authorize ko to collect yung mga rental, paupahan mo. Okay, at ikaw na pipirma ng lease contract in behalf ko as the owner. Okay, sige. Ngayon, may authority ka. Yes, you have the authority na magparent. Pero anong ginawa mo? You acted beyond the authority or powers dahil hindi mo lang pinarenta, binenta mo pa. 'Di ba? So, ngayon, tignan natin, class, kung sakali man napapasok siya sa unenforceable contract or ito ba ay void contract. So, take note, sale of a real property or an immovable property or any interest therein through an agent, okay, shall be void if it is not in writing. Yung not in writing ay yung kontrata. Okay? Or, maliban pa dyan, yung, okay, aside from the contract or the deed of absolute sale, maliban pa dyan, class, yung tinatawag nating special power of attorney. Meron siyang SPA, pero only up to, okay, leasing, magparenta, hindi po magbenta. So he is acting beyond his powers. Okay? So wala siyang authority to sell. Yan. So in that case, class, okay, unenforceable ba siya or void? According to the law, class, sale of real property or any interest therein. Ang building po ay real property. And any interest therein through an agent must be in writing. Otherwise, it is void. So, in writing yung deed of absolute sale, pero yung kanyang authority ay hindi po in writing. Kasi ang authority lang po niya is what? To lease, not to sell. Hence, that is a case of void contract according to the law. Okay? So, ayan ha. Acted beyond powers of his authority. Kunyari, magpaparenta, hindi naman niya binenta. Pero paparentahan mo lang ha sa mga tenant na mga babae. Ayan. Kasi mas maingat silang gumamit ng dorm. Ayan. Ang problema, hindi naman babae, no, yung mga magre-rent. Okay? Okay? Ang pinarentahan niya ay co-ed. Okay, co-ed. So, acted beyond his powers. Wait lang, class, ha? Okay. Now, those that does not comply with the statutes of fraud, okay, may mga particular transactions na kailangan nakasulat. Otherwise, it is unenforceable. Say, for example, class, with regard to lease, okay, lease of a property, okay, for more than 1 year, yan, must be in writing. Otherwise, it is unenforceable. Okay? So, pagka less than 1 year, kahit hindi po nakasulat, okay lang. No, kagaya nga po nung nagpagawa ng lease contract sa akin last week or 2 weeks ago, 1 year lang yung rental eh. So, kahit na hindi nila gawan ng formalities or forms, okay, enforceable pa rin po yun. However, for convenience class, okay, convenience, gagawan mo na lang din ng lease contract para nakasaad lahat doon yung kung ano yung napag-usapan. Di ba? Para hindi natin sabing makalimutan ng isang party. Yan. Those where both parties are incapable of giving consent. So alam naman natin class yung mga incapable of giving consent. Na-discuss na natin to kanina. So pag dalawa sila, okay, then magiging unenforceable. Example, si Juan, ang kanyang edad ay 11 years old. Si Pedro naman, 16 years old. Si Pedro meron siyang Xbox. No? Binenta niya kay Juan yung Xbox niya. Okay? So, nagbayad naman itong si Juan, 11 years old, yung mga inipon niya nung Christmas, last Christmas, binayad niya. Okay? So, both parties are incapable of giving consent. Diba? So, ito po ay unenforceable contract. Okay? Ngayon, nung nakita ni Pedro, ng magulang ni Juan, yung bumili, no, yung 11 years old, yung binili niya Xbox, sabi niya, anak, saan mo nabili yan? Kanino galing yan? O, kay Pedro po. O, di pinuntahan ng nanay ni Juan si Pedro. Sabi niya kay Pedro, anak, buti naman at binenta mo sa anak ko, si Juan, yung Xbox mo. Matagal na niyang gusto magkaroon ng ganyang laruan. Ay, opo, tita, kasi kailangan ko rin po ng pera kasi may bibilhin po akong ibang laruan, no? Bibili po ako ng, say for example, bike. Ayan. So, yung action ng nanay ni Juan is ratification on the part of anak niya, si Juan. Di ba? So, in that scenario, yung isa sa mga parties na dating incapable of giving consent, na-ratify na. So, isa na lang po ang incapacitated, incapable of giving consent, si Pedro. So yung dating unenforceable, magiging voidable na siya kasi isa na lang ang incapable of giving consent. Eh di nagkwentuhan tong dalawang magmare, no? Si Marites at saka si Marisol. Ayan, ang pangalan na lang ng nanay ni Juan ay Marites, pangalan naman ng nanay ni Pedro ay si Marisol. Ayan. Sabi ni Marites, "Uy Mare, binenta pala ni Pedro yung Xbox niya sa anak kong si Juan." Ay, oo, Mare. Sinulsulan ko yung anak ko na ibenta sa anak mo kasi alam kong gusto niyang bumili ng bike, alangan namang bigyan ko pa siya ng pera. Meron naman siya laruan na hindi niya ginagamit. Ay, ganun ba? Buti naman at nag-agree yung dalawa na magbentahan. Ayan. Kanino pala galing yung pera ng anak mong si Juan? Ay, ipon niya yon ng Christmas. Pero dinagdagan ko na rin. So, these acts na subsequent dun sa kontrata ay form of ratification. Nira-ratify na nila yung acts ng mga anak nila. Diba? So, magiging perfectly valid na yun. So, ganyan, class, ha? Now, Article 1403 of the new Civil Code does not apply to sale of parcel of land because sale of land by an agent without the consent of alleged principal is void, not merely unenforceable. Sale of land or any interest therein ay magiging void if it was sold through an agent. Pero pag ang nagbenta class, pag ang nagbenta ay owner, sale of land or any interest therein, real property or any interest therein, at ang nagbenta ay hindi po agent. Okay, ito kasi agent ang nagbenta. At yung agent na yan, wala siyang authority. So magiging void. Yung agent na yan, may authority. Okay? So magiging valid. Ito po void, no? Ito po valid. Yan. Okay, with the presumption na in public instrument. Pero pa ang nagbenta class ay owner, syempre walang authority pinag-uusapan diyan class, no? Pero wala pong nakasulat, no? Hindi po nag-comply sa Statute of Frauds. Ayan. Ang nagbenta po ay owner, okay? It does not render the sale of a land, okay, by an owner, okay, if there is failure to have it notarized or put it in writing. It will not render the said contract void. Okay? Valid pa rin ang sale between the owner and the buyer. Okay, sale ng land yan ha, valid pa rin. Kahit na hindi notaryado. Yung notarization clause is in order for the said parties to bind the third person or the whole world. Di ba? At required po na nakasulat para ma-register mo sa registry of or register of deeds. Di ba? Pero dito, kapag hindi po siya nakasulat, unenforceable po yan. Okay, sale of land owner, okay, must be in writing. Okay, otherwise it is unenforceable. At kapag unenforceable clause yung contract, okay, executory pa lang, hindi pa executed. Anong ibig sabihin nun, sir? Hindi mo makokompel, Juan, etong si Pedro, na i-deliver sa'yo yung thing or yung lupa through court action kasi nga wala naman kayong kasulatan. Hindi mo rin makokompel, Pedro, si Juan na bayaran yung value ng lupa kasi wala kayong kasulatan. Kahit na pumunta ka sa korte. Why? Kasi unenforceable. But take note, class, na ang unenforceable contract, ang tanong dapat dito, class, ay na-execute na ba yung kontrata or executory pa lang? Okay? Kasi kapag ka na-execute na, okay, yung kontrata, hindi na siya unenforceable. Example, class, ha? So kapag ka hindi pa na-execute, then unenforceable pa lang siya. Pero kapag ka na-execute na yan, okay, kahit hindi nakasulat, then it will be perfectly valid. Yan, hindi na siya magiging unenforceable. Okay? Say for example, class, yung rental, more than 1 year. Okay? Hindi pa po pumapasok sa room or dun sa rerentahan ni Juan de la Cruz kung siya yung mangungupahan at hindi pa naman binibigay ni Pedro yung susi. So executory pa lang. Okay? More than 1 year. So dapat nakasulat. Pero hindi pa rin sila gumagawa ng kontrata na nakasulat. Kaso nga lang si Pedro, binigay na niya yung susi kay Juan. So technically, in-execute na nila yung kontrata. Tapos itong si Juan naman, nanirahan na at tumuloy na rin doon sa inuupahan niya. At tuloy-tuloy na rin yung, kumbaga, pagrenta. So kahit walang kontrata, class, executed na yan. So hindi na siya unenforceable. Okay, so take note of that. Characteristic of an unenforceable contract, they are valid contract but which cannot be enforced by proper action in court. Okay, cannot. They are susceptible of ratification. Ratification. Okay. The defect of an unenforceable contract is nature and it will exist as long as the contract is not duly ratified. They cannot be assailed by third person. So yung mga parties lang pwede mag-assail ng unenforceable contract. Siyempre, obviously, kasi nga, it's between the two of them pa lang. Diba? Yeah. Void or inexistent contract. The void contract, class, okay, is a perfected contract. Bakit po perfected? Kasi meron siyang consent, meron siyang object, at meron siyang consideration. Kaso nga lang, may defect nga lang sa object. Yung object po illegal. Kagaya po ng drugs, di ba? So that's a void contract. It is perfected pa rin, di ba? Because all the essential requisites are present for the existence of a contract. But the contract is invalid from the inception. Void ab initio. Baka naman valid yung object pero yung consideration, yan po yung invalid naman. That is unlawful naman, no? So ayan. So sabi mo kay Juan de la Cruz, "Uy, Juan de la Cruz, gusto mo 10,000?" Okay? Oh, syempre, sino ba naman ang ayaw ng 10,000? Oh, sige. Itumba mo si Mayor. Yan. So the object, service, itutumba si Mayor. That's unlawful. Consideration, yung 10,000. Okay? Pumayag naman si Juan de la Cruz. So there is consent as to the object and the consideration. Okay? So that's unlawful. Okay? O kaya naman yung object ay sasakyan, no? Bebenta ko to sa iyo yung sasakyan, pero ang ibayad mo sa akin shabu. Okay, 1 kilo ng shabu. So the consideration is unlawful. Okay? So that's invalid from the start. As opposed to inexistent contract, it is one which does not exist because any of the essential requisites for the existence of a contract is totally lacking. Example po ng inexistent contract. Sabi ni George kay Earl, Earl, gusto mo bang bilhin tong relo ko? Siyempre, gusto ko, sabi ni Earl. Tapos umalis na si Earl. Okay. May consent as to the sale of yung relo. No? Kunyari, yung bench watch. Pumayag si Earl, pumayag ding ibenta si George. Pero wala silang agreement sa consideration kung magkano. So, ibig sabihin, inexistent pa rin ang kontrata. Okay? Kasi hindi po kumpleto yung mga requisite. Yan. Now, what are the characteristics of void and inexistent contract? As a rule, okay, they produce no effect. Okay? Kasi pag void ab initio or inexistent, lalo na pag inexistent, walang effect yan. Either against or in favor of anyone. Bakit po as a rule sa void? Kasi class, may mga certain void contracts na may effect. Okay, meron pong subsequent effect. Okay? Say for example, class, yung void marriage, no? Declared void under Article 36 of the Family Code, yung psychological incapacity. Anong effect nun? O class, syempre pag na-declare na void kasi nga psychologically incapacitated yung isa sa mga mag-asawa, paano yung mga anak nila? Diba? It will still produce effect. Ano yung mangyayari? Legitimate pa rin yung anak nila na napanganak or naianak or naisilang, okay, during the existence of a valid marriage which subsequently declared void under Article 36. So it is an absolute or it is absolute under inexistent contract but with exception under void contract. The exception is in the case of void contract where the nullity proceeds from illegality of object or cause of the contract when executed. Thus, one may recover what he has already given under the contract. They are not susceptible of ratification. So, hindi po pwedeng i-ratify yung kontrata. Hindi po pwedeng sabihin na, ang sabi mo, i-deliver mo sa akin yung 10,000 pag itinumba ko si Mayor. Yun na yung kontrata natin. Pwede bang baguhin natin? I-ratify na lang natin? Okay? Hindi pwede. Kasi void from the start. It is not subject to ratification. It is not subject to annulment. Okay? And it is also not subject to prescription. The right to set up the defense of absolute nullity cannot be waived or renounced. The action for declaration of nullity does not prescribe. Okay? So kung magpapa-declare ka ng null and void na kontrata, nullity, okay, wala pong prescriptive period. It cannot be invoked by a person whose interests are not directly affected. So dapat direct action ito, directly affected lang yung makapag-invoke ng void contract. Contract declared void or inexistent. The following are void or inexistent contract. Those that are absolutely simulated or fictitious. Gawa-gawa lang po. No? Pero kapag relatively simulated, okay, pwede pong ayusin at maging perfectly valid by reformation. Those whose cause or object did not exist at the time of the transaction. Those whose intention of the parties relative to the principal object of the contract cannot be ascertained. Those whose cause or object or purpose is contrary to law, moral, good customs, public order, public policy. Okay, cause, object, or purpose. Okay, contrary to law. Those whose object is outside the commerce of men. Hindi mo pwedeng ibenta ang buwan, ang between. No? Those which contemplates an impossible service. Okay, so kapag ka sinabing gawa tayo ng kontrata, bibigyan kita ng 100,000 kapag lumipad ka papuntang buwan. Okay? Hindi naman po pwede yun. That's impossible. So that's a void agreement. But, okay, an obligation which may arise from a contract class, obligation to rather obligation not to do an impossible thing, di ba? Kapag ka naman sinabing bibigyan kita ng 10,000 basta huwag kang lumipad patungong buwan, that is valid, di ba? And definitely it is demandable na, di ba? Those that are expressly prohibited or declared void by law, such as yung kanina, sale of land or real property or any interest therein through an agent, it must be in writing. Otherwise, it is void. That's declared by law. Or example, family code, no, declared by law to be void, yung mga bigamous marriage, no? Bigamous marriage, yan yung mga void marriages. Okay naman, marriage na nag-enter into between parties na walang legal capacity, void po yun. Pari delicto rule in void contracts where the nullity proceeds from the illegality of cause or the purpose of the contract and the two equally at fault. Kaya nga in pari delicto, both parties are at fault. So kapag ka-equally at fault, the law leaves them as they are. So bahala kayo class sa buhay nyo. Yun po ang concept nito, no? Bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. Kasi kayong dalawa ay equally nagkamali. So the court will deny recovery by either one of them. So you bear, kumbaga bear your own risk, no? Your loss. Yan. Effect of declaration. The effect of the declaration of nullity or inexistence, as a rule, it produces no effect. Okay, na-discuss na natin to kanina. Thus, the parties are entitled to recover what they may have been given by virtue of the contract in action to declare its absolute nullity or inexistence. Okay? So dito naman, pwede po, okay, as an exception na pwedeng i-recover yung naibigay na. Ayan. Exception is in the case of pari delicto, as is lang, wala pong recovery dyan. Okay? Equally at fault. So there is a denial of recovery by either one of them and when action is barred by laches. Okay, yung kumbaga action mo not to declare the contract void but your action to sabihin na natin enforce your right, no, to collect kung ano man yan ay barred by laches or yung pagtulog mo ng rights mo, which is prescription. Okay, so this ends our discussion class with regard to defective contract.